Welcome to the first analyst task for today, KT versus T1, and we'll be joined by Mina, Kim, Warit, and Lyra for today's analyst task. KT dropped their game number 1 against Telecom T1. So first, let's talk about the draft. So Akali was opened once again, still on 100% pick and ban rate. They all got 3 cards that enables them to get the priority in the laning phase. So they had control of vision in the early game. However, T1, they opened Akali with intention. Because Akali was banned for so many times, well, actually, KT Rolster didn't have much experience playing Akali on the blue side. So T1, as a trade, took Aphelios and Set, which can be better than Akali on the blue side. So, what's your thought on Akali then? Well, we don't have much data on Akali in the current meta, but if you take Akali and let them take Set and Aphelios, I'm not sure whether it's really that much worth it. But for sure, T1 had a very easy pick on Set and Aphelios throughout their pick and bans. So KT seemed a little bit rushing in game. So we want to talk about how J4 died consecutively and how that affected the team to lose the whole game. Since they had the lane priority, well, actually J4 was able to have control all over the vision, especially around the bot side. So they prepared really well for this fight. However, their engagement was not really clean. KT Rolster, because they had a very strong lane picks, they really wanted to make something happen in the early phase. However, J4 got eliminated so fast, so KT Rolster did not manage to get a win over there. So that was a very critical failure. Well, J4 camped all his jungle, he had all the visions. However, in that such a crucial moment, he had to pop his flash. So this snowballed for losing the following bot lane skirmish. T1 already was a little bit ahead in this moment. So as soon as J4 respawned, he ran to bot lane. Well, T1, they had to actually just push lane, and KT Rolster had to clear out those waves in the lane. However, J4 went in too fast when the other laners could not really back up in the best timing. So maybe J4 could just rather go to the mid lane because Kuro was having a lot of priority and he was doing really well during the laning phase. So instead of going to a strong lane, well, Bono decided to gank bot lane 2 times in a row, and 2 attempts did not work well. So that kind of ended up KT Rolster losing their Nexus. Let's check out the POG for game number 1 from T1. It's Teddy on Aphelios, his first POG for the split. He was playing on Aphelios, not dying all throughout the game. He was really good at punishing the mistakes on Bono and also other players as well. His positioning as an AD carry was on point, and also he was really proactive when he had to be. And also the way he initiates fights with Gravitum and also doing damage with other weapons is on point, so he definitely deserves this POG for game number 1. Aphelios is not a guarantee pick for POG, but Teddy's Aphelios was something else this time. So Teddy got 6 votes for this POG, and especially because Aphelios is really hard to survive since he doesn't have any dash skills, still Teddy managed to do it really well. Akali, we have to figure out whether it's a trap card or really a pocket pick. So teams on the blue side have to rethink whether they should just take a B1 Akali when it's open. And when they took it, they have to prove it, whether it's worth it. So we'll be happier for the blue side team to get Akali banned. So let's check out how the draft will go for game number 2.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, for the analyst desk translation. Also great to hear the analyst desk being very critical of Bono, because to be perfectly honest, that first game was certainly pro bono. Great content from iKeel on Reddit there. Thank you so much for that one. Certainly a pro bono win, and that is why we're going to have a substitution. Congratulations to Teddy for picking up the MVP. I find it hard to give MVPs to Aphelios because it's hard to know how much he's done until you look afterwards, you know? Like, it's a hindsight sort of factor, but 38% of the damage, absolutely well-deserved, as there is the man on your screen. Coming on in, one sinner to replace another. Malrung, certainly the early game king when he was on Jin Air, and then didn't quite figure out how to finish off any games, but maybe, just maybe, Game 2 is going to be the time. It is theoretically Malrung's Game 1, and maybe that's what's going to help out KT here.
Well, we shall see.
Hirai and Acorn both giving Malrung some tips heading into this one. In fact, you don't often see Malrung smile, but when he sat down there was a bit of a grin on his face. So, hoping that maybe Malrung has got himself into a better mindset. I think a lot of what his troubles were last year were the fact that he was just constantly frustrated. You know, getting his team to a decent position and then not being able to translate that into any victories must have been extremely tough. But this is another guy that we had a lot of criticism for. Kuro didn't exactly pilot his Cassiopeia very well against his longtime rival in Faker. The first time that Faker and Kuro have faced off against one another in 2020 since 2018, right? Like, it's been a really long time since we've had this matchup, I believe. There were no international events where they faced off, I don't think, unless there was one at Rift Rivals. But I'll have to look back into the history books there.
Well,
not sure.
Kuro was doing a completely fine job for the first 10 minutes of the game, but then it just really started to spiral out of control. The bottom lane deficits just started snowballing, and then some of the early team fights and skirmishes just caused chaos and a collapse across all of the lanes, and there was no stabilizing for KT, and then we never really got to see their team composition ever really come online because it was always playing quite a big game of catch-up, as well as the builds were, especially on Cassiopeia, a little bit all over the place. As Cassio eventually went into Rod of Ages with the Seraph's Embrace, and then just holding on to the Null Magic Mantle.
Yeah, that was a bit odd, wasn't it? I didn't actually, because a whole lot of other things were happening throughout that game, I didn't check back in on the Abyssal Mask purchase. Maybe just opting in for the Null Magic for lane, and then was going to eventually turn it into a Banshee's Veil type situation, which would certainly protect you from things like Scatter the Weak catching you out, and stuff like that. Also ruins Diana's day. She can't mark you, I don't believe, with her Q if it is hit by hitting in Banshee's Veil. So here we are into pick and ban for game number 2. T1 now on our blue side, wanting to get towards a 2-0 win for the first time here in the LCK. There's a 2-1 win and then a 1-2 loss for T1 in week 1.
Aladios being banned away. Interesting, T1 is banning Soraka, even though they are on blue side.
Just shows that Kana does not want to join the Soraka camp. So Aphelios and Set both to leave the Rift now. Wasn't exactly a Set issue in the last game, but Kana did play it perfectly fine.
And we'll see what the final 2 bans are going to be. Is KT going to leave up the Akali?
I have a feeling they might, because it just showed that it isn't exactly a priority pick as Misfortune banned. So Teddy finally going to have to dip out of the misfortune of Felio's camp. He's only played these two champions so far this year, as there is the Akali ban.
Lead to a B1 Senna, or are they going to go something along the lines of maybe looking for spots to take even a Kalista? Oh.
Yumi would be odd, but it is on. Thank goodness.
Ornn is going to be picked up. One of the best B1 picks in the game. Extremely versatile, able to be flexed into multiple roles, and then obviously his late game scaling is no joke, gifting all his teammates with the ornaments. So KT has to be a little careful here.
And does KT go full Sin against the Ornn, or is it something else? Malrung gonna hop on the Gragas, most likely. Tucson is one of our better Gragas players, but it was largely paired alongside Deft and his Kai'Sa play. Aiming was another one of our Kai'Sa players that actually did it relatively well, especially when it was like suicide into the backline, do a massive amount of damage situation. As the Senna is locked in here from KT, so a little bit further will T1 have to dig to find their AD carry. Now, I believe it was Aiming that played the Ezreal when presented with this situation last time around. Finally, going to head towards this Senna lock-in. Teddy thinking the Lovers duo might be where we're going. I believe this might even be one of our first Xayahs that we've had. No, we've had 3, but she's only won 1 game thus far. And T1 have played it, I believe. No, they haven't. What I was talking about before involved Teddy never actually playing anything other than MF and Xayah. So first time T1 picking this one up in LCK for 2020 Spring. And the Tahm Kench to be paired with the Senna. So hopefully we just don't spend too much time bottom lane. It's understandable. We've seen this all across the world. Senna Tahm Kench. This is what you do.
And so right now KT, they do have to be wary against T1, and we'll see what is going to end up being the next 2 bans, because T1 is very wide open with what they can pick so far. They have a lot of versatility inside of their current draft, and KT as well. I mean, with the Senna and the Gragas, they have 2 strong picks themselves. And now, if you're KT, you're obviously looking for a dual flex mid-top lane champion on R4.
Nah, you're looking for a Yasuo.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's Yasuo time.
Well,
Sowan's top lane Yasuo into Ornn, you know? All that armor penetration from the last breath.
You know what? They might just ban it right now. 2 seconds.
Yeah, they could ban it. KT's got another jungle ban to come in, and it will be the Diana. Taken away from T1, and there is a jungler that I've heard tell of, myths of this beautiful jungler that seems to do way too much damage. And Cuz has been playing it. It was banned in game 1.
It is really good against Gragas. Karthus outpaces him so fast. And so it would actually be really nice to see if KT actually shows their top laner too early here. Could just have a Karthus end up coming in. Alternatively, if the Kiana gets locked in.
Come on.
Okay.
Aatrox.
So, you can have the Ornn go top lane. Ornn does beat Aatrox inside of the lane. Alternatively, send Ornn into mid, pick Gang playing top lane, and Aatrox can't play the game. And then lock in the Karthus to couple it.
Oh no, Cuz.
They're hovering Olaf. There was a lot of directions to go here, Atlas, and
straight to hell. Unfortunately. And Victor going to be the final lock-in here from Faker, one of the champions that he's played a heck of a lot, and into Kuro a lot of times as well. And Kuro going back to another old favorite in the Zoe. Did spend his time playing it over in the LPL, but a region where there were certainly a lot of very skilled Zoe players.
So, if this ends up going super late game, the amount of mobility and gears available on the side of T1 is just gonna be way too oppressive, but there is a mid-game point where Zoe and Senna in particular can be really obnoxious.
Follow-up on picks is very, very high.
The other thing is that KT, they have 3 losing lanes, and they have a losing jungle matchup, so this is truly impressive. But what's more impressive is that T1 finally took 8 games, but
yeah,
we have a winning draft.
Oh, here we go. Coach Kim gonna take a bow. They're not gonna shake hands. Coronavirus, certainly something that we're going to try and avoid. Yeah, that's why we haven't had hands being shaken so far. It's not like everyone all of a sudden in 2020 just became rude. It's, I think, just to stay conscious of not wanting to spread as many viruses around, things like that.
All right, well, Ornn, Olaf, Victor, Xayah, and Rakan. It's going to be T1's team composition. They have 3 winning lanes as well as winning jungler matchup. If they lose the early game into mid-transition, something must have horribly went wrong. And KT, on the flip side, they have 1 chance, 1 opportunity to win this game, and that is right around when the mid-game starts to take over, and a lot of that is going to be on the back of Zoe and Senna, and see if they can manage to flip something in their favor.
Difficult times here for KT, but they have switched out Bono, they've put in Malrong, and maybe, just maybe, he's going to be able to find an avenue for victory here in this game, but it will need to be an uphill battle in the early stages. Tucson, certainly very comfortable on the Tahm Kench. There was a time where Tucson's Tahm Kench was one of our worst, but really did sort of reevaluate how he plays the champion, and has since been a very, very powerful one. Not sure whether it's the right pick in this instance, but paired alongside Senna seems to be the way that you build this lane. Range advantage going to be there on the bottom side. Senna certainly going to be able to offer a little bit more as far as that range against the Xayah.
And we'll see what Malrong is actually going to be able to do, because I feel like if there is ever a chance for KT to win the early game, it would be on the back of a very sinful Gragas. As T1 now, they're going to move over, they're going to clear out a ward and place down a zombie ward. So that's actually going to be quite valuable in the early stages, as aiming and Tushen not really...
Aiming actually levels the E first. Sorry, W first for the snare. Normally it is the Piercing Darkness that does come down first for extra little bit of lane push, but wanted to guarantee the CC and get into this lane in the right position.
And again, both Victor and Zoe with the Scorch Rune again, and it's so strange. Also, Faker taking heal instead of teleport here on the Victor.
Again. This time Kuro also moving over to that camp.
Well,
our eyes will be on the junglers this
also,
game, guys.
I have no idea why Kana has minion dematerializer up here in top lane on Ornn.
I think it's to dematerialize minions.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I know I'm you know, I'm taking a bit of a leap of faith there, but
that was yesterday.
That's what it's going. Oh yes, sorry. Alawi no longer in this game.
16-3 on Victor. Is
pretty
Faker.
good.
I mean, it's all right. 84.2. I mean,
yeah,
not quite 90, you know.
Oh, that
gets you a B grade, and you know how it is.
Yeah.
It's A+ or go home.
Not impressed. Is what that translates to, guys. As Kenna just going to be giving up a few of these minions. Sohan was one of our Aatrox savants in the 2019 season. He played a heck of a lot of it. Actually had some pretty good times. There's the first dematerialization. It got Kanna a minion that he would have otherwise not been able to get. Okay?
All right.
It's giving him that cash money.
And Sohan not taking advantage of a cheater recall.
I feel like we can give up talking about that now, because
you know what?
Like, it's just never happened,
nope.
and it's probably never going to happen.
Some LEC players call it by that now. Okay.
Oh, really?
And it's starting to be done.
Okay.
Slowly but surely.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Shirley's not for. You know,
Shirley's not
she may not even be here this
yeah,
game.
good. Shirley's not for a while, but.
Yeah. Well, maybe if we can get into some of the comms with some of these teams, we can also help our LCK players learn. Cuz coming on over, going to be able to take down this Rip Scuttle. As okay, A little bit aggressive there from Effort, but goes back, collects himself the Guardian, uses that passive quite nicely. Aiming for a bit of damage here. And remember, Piercing Darkness does allow you to get your own health back up. It's a bit of sustain in both of these lanes, given how they both function. We might see a bit of biffo, but it doesn't mean too much.
Well, so far everything is going yet again very stable. And again, Soan finding the leg up over Kana in terms of the CS department, so this is very strange. Now, it's also a bit interesting, Ornn not building Bramble Vest first item against the Aatrox denies the ability for Aatrox to really trade back against Ornn, and instead rushing straight into the Sapphire Crystal. Now, he builds the Glacial Shroud.
Oh, that is not happening.
Well,
it's going to be Catalyst into Sunfire Cape. Come on.
We can hope.
Do you know?
Okay.
My cup is very half full right now.
I can tell that
it might start moving down to being a third full if it doesn't actually happen. Because if it is a Glacial Shroud, I will be very sad. Oh, Tucson actually looking for effort here. Gets the exhaust down, trying to slow him up. There's Teddy very low on mana, but that doesn't mean he's not able to auto-attack. Cuz moving on in here as well, is aiming, trying to trade this one back. Cuz just going to help get this lane shoved forward to allow a good back timing here for the T1 bottom lane. Faker might be in trouble now as the Predator was procced. Kuro, he finds the bubble, and they should be able to find this kill as well, as Malrong is stunned up by the gravity field, but First Blood delivered, hand-delivered, on a silver platter. And Cuz also, as a flow-on effect, having to use the flash. KT with a great start in this early game thus far.
And so right now, the Aatrox doing super good up here in the top lane, up quite a bit in the CS department. Also has the lane completely in his favor. You can notice Soan not actually autoing Kana, and the reason for that is he doesn't want to draw minion aggro. So spellcasts that damage the opponent but that don't directly target them doesn't cause any minion aggro.
Yep.
A lot of people still don't know that that change came in. I've seen that comment a lot.
It came in a long time ago as well, but it was one of those things that was very impactful, but not televised, I guess, very much. Yeah, unfortunately, Faker between a rock and a hard place. The rock being Zoe, the hard place being Gragas. And as that flow-on that we were talking about, it meant that Cuz's flash also now on cooldown. Let's see whether that can be capitalized on as well.
Lost Chapter, first item on Victor in order to sustain inside of this lane. We take a look at the XP points in Kuro and Soan. At the very top.
Here comes the Ornhorn though. The flash not going to be enough there from Soan as the flash forward. Canna, he really wants this one. And he'll get the Searing Charge, get the knock up, and Soan should be going down here. As Tucson, he's going to come in, looks for Cuz. Does have a fair few minions as Malrong's making his way up as well. The Grey Help going to be utilized. Now Malrong, he picks up a Chaos Storm, and Tucson has to flash to get the heck out of there. Cuz grabs the last axe, and that is going to be the one to put the Tahm Kench in the ground. Late teleport to come through from Soan as he has just respawned. Now aiming, gets flashed on.
Well, now he still can't come up to the lane. Effort and Teddy would be able to kill him, and so as a byproduct of this, the teleport needed to get 2 kills in order to be valuable, and then it would require Soan to use his teleport, get some turret plates. And so that didn't end up happening, and so aiming is now suffering from top lane as well.
And now finally able to get back to this lane as Tucson does show back up again with absolutely nothing to his name. Okay, Effort gonna get licked for now. The Devour able to be used on Effort here, but aiming very far forward. He's gonna heal himself back up. That Piercing Darkness does come in, and KT now set their sights onto Shelly. Shelly will be showing her face this game. Glad we were chatting about it earlier on.
Yeah. He's gonna be picked up right away.
And will Malrong use it? Because we had confirmation that Bono just did last game. So kind of catches him right at the end.
Yeah, this was actually a really nice setup by Kana. Soan not able to flash out and dodge it there. Sushin, he comes in here, and this was so strange. You can see He doesn't really know what he wants to do. I don't even know why he's applying the stacks to the Olaf.
I think he thought that Ragnarok was down, maybe.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what he thinks as well.
Because as soon as he managed to stack it up 3 times, that's when Cuz pressed his Ragnarok button, and of course you can't devour at that stage. He was going into the open maw of the Tahm Kench. In fact, Tucson had clicked the button, but that pops it, of course. So a little bit unfortunate there. Good Bellows Breath from Canna to avoid the knockup.
Ooh, some fancy footwork.
Like it a lot. Oh no! Don't look at the items. Just don't look at the items. Don't do it.
Well, Kana is not one of the people on the planet that knows how to build Ornn correctly.
Yeah, well,
you
can't all be one of those people.
Picking up the Frozen Fist so that you can get the 25 armor and extra mana. Mana almost wholly irrelevant. You end up getting the Spellblade and the CDR, but if you're building Ornn right anyway, the CDR difference is negligible. You end up getting 33% in mid-game, having 725 more HP, which then amplifies your magic resistances that you end up purchasing via the Abyssal Mask. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. So on.
Yeah, another Ornn comes in, and Canna is landing all of these. But Dawning Shadow does fly forward, and now Malrung, unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to help him. Just uses his stopwatch, but he's going to be able to keep it alive. No, messes up Kuro's Battlestar. The flash forward gets a smite there onto Cuz. Don't know why that happened, and he throws his life away.
All right, well, this game has been a bit of a
You're gonna have to break that one down
another
for me,
chocolate mess
yeah.
is what we have going on here. As bottom lane is also just getting torn apart. Faker now going to be able to get a mid-tier 1 turret, and off the reset by Olaf, he should be able to pass to the right-hand side. The bottom lane's going to be resetting as well at the same time as him. Should be able to get Mountain Dragons. We take a look at this one more time. So on, pushed up in the lane, he feels very comfortable with Gragas in close proximity, but unaware that Cuz waiting inside of the brush. Malrung goes golden, and then Battlestar gets completely messed up, so some anti-synergy right here. Kuro flashes forward, tries to get the red smite, not able to do anything. You see Malrung doesn't even know what to do.
Do you think he misread the red smite for an ignite?
No.
I don't know, man. I don't understand that.
This was just really bad anti-synergy.
Well, Tucson, I think, might just be dead here, as the quickness is going to try and lock this one down. Grey health eaten, but Teddy, he really wanted to tank up that turret, but effort not going to push any further forward, not biting off more than they can chew, as Cuz topping the damage right now on his early game Olaf performance. He's sinning, but he's grinning, my friend.
Well, Mountain Dragon now gonna be the pickup, and this is a fantastic break.
Is dead? Yeah, he is. But didn't he know that?
I have nothing to say.
Goodness gracious me. Aiming misses the cannon, but Effort picks up some plates.
I think Aiming is now dead as well. He doesn't have flash available, tries to heal, but
Flash Undertow is going to do it. Effort with the Battle Dance and the Grand Entrance just guarantees that Aiming has no way out. Some plates gathered in the mid lane, but this, I don't know, man. All those plates are doing is providing the chocolate mess to everyone else as we have a look at the preview
look at this,
here
look at this, look at this. He said no flash, no flash, no flash. I think that he was referring to Aiming. Yep, I think that was him trying to tell Cuz right after that clip just ended up expiring. We caught the very end of it. Mountain Dragon was picked up, and like I mentioned, it's a very valuable Drake. Victor eventually going to get Banshee's Veil. Obviously, lots of resistances stacked onto Olaf and Ornn, as well as Rakan. And for a team composition that is all about trying to burst the opponent in one fell swoop, KT does not like even the slightest amount going over. And normally, Mountain Dragon sucks a lot early on, and it comes into play or has a bit of effectiveness once it starts going into the mid to late game. And that's where we mentioned earlier on, Zoe and Senna do try to come online and do things for this KT team composition, but Mountain Drake will play a part in that, even if it is super slight.
I actually just think that this early game going so disastrously wrong is the biggest issue right now. Like, KT was never expected to be this far behind. Like, 3,000 gold is actually pretty decent at 13 minutes and 40 seconds, and they've lost so much control of this map as well. Yes, I mean, 4 plates have been taken down in mid lane, but this bottom lane outer turret is about to fall. As effort gets booped back, quickness has to be used in the flash. Needing to go out there as well. Dashes to and from Teddy just to try and get his health back. So that's a big one. Effort losing a big engage tool is now Cuz. He knows that he's got Ragnarok in order to get out of there, and he's an accelerated Olaf. Moving towards, I believe, his Black Cleaver as item number 2. Synergizes well with the Cinder Hulk, of course. That percentage extra health that you gain with an item that has a fair bit of health on it. Will help boost Teddy's damage also.
Yeah, they're going to take the second blue away now, and 4,000 gold lead with another Infernal Dragon. This has been potentially the fastest series, right, that we've had so far in 2020, if T1 does manage to close this out early. And honestly, I feel a bit bad for Soan, who 2 games in a row was doing quite good in the laning phase.
Yeah, actually piloting both the Akali and the Aatrox all right, but when the game gets lost around you, it's the classic solo queue top laner feel, you know? There's a reason why that lane isn't super popular in solo queue these days. It's because sometimes it just feels like you don't have a lot of agency. And so on. He's been doing his job. Unfortunately, this is a team game. So when things go wrong elsewhere, it can't really be a problem, as so on. Charges that first Q, wants the second one. There we go, the Darkened Blade comes in. Okay, misses everything. And throws down the ult to try and get out and flashes. We gotta stop caster cursing these players, man.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
Surely gonna be picked up here by T1.
And this is the flow-on effect, right? This is where bottom outer falls down, you have an 80 carry with a 50-odd CS lead. Teleport now towards the bottom side to try and salvage anything, as Tusin's just going to eat the on so that he can't move back the ram. And that's a party cast, because this was a counter that was definitely already dead. KT do manage to successfully dive this one out. Malrung, he was tanking the turret very nicely, and it's a good dive, but what are you losing elsewhere? And the answer is the majority.
You're losing so much, as well as the changes that have happened in Season 10 with shared experience. All of the champions being in that close proximity, sharing the XP on the minions that are dying. They end up getting the turret, but they lose the top tier 1, the top tier 2, and normally I always perceive the top tier 2 as a luxury turret or an economic turret rather than an objective one. Typically, it's not a turret that you actually get until you have Baron buff way later in the game, and so it's a very, very slight amplification to T1's gold inside of this game that they're going to feel comfortable with getting, and we just take a look at how this all transpires. And honestly, it was at this moment Kana probably knew that he was dead.
Yeah, it might have actually been when he was halfway towards that turret that then realized that he had to commit to it, I guess. I don't know.
Tried to stay alive, couldn't really do anything. 35 seconds now until the dragon ends up being captured, likely by T1. And if you're T1 right now,
or Cloud.
Getting Mountain Dragon would be, it would really hurt KT, because you look at Zoe's bubbles, they'll hit you, and then the Paddle Star will want to come out, but...
Well, I've got good news and bad news.
Yeah.
They already have one Mountain Drake, so that's bad.
You're right.
But they can't have more of them.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That is good, Atlas. I just had a little bit of a whoopsie.
Oh, look, I live my life having whoopsies. It's fine. Totally fine.
I don't know why, so for some reason in my head, I blanked that Ocean was the first one captured, but that's all right. That's okay. There's only a graphic on the screen that's supposed to help me with that, but, you know, I'm getting on in years.
Well, we're also getting on in this game, as Soan's getting Chaos Stormed, and this is a 2 versus 3 right now, with the Senna's ultimate that was already used, so theoretically 4. Let's add a 5th. As the Trouble Bubble comes down, great flash from Faker to allow the cast to taxi him out, and I think that was a theoretical 2 versus 5 as far as participation that our T1 comfortably handled.
And we're just really going through the motions right now in this KT game, and this series is very reminiscent of the games against Gen G once KT just started to fall behind.
Well, I want to tell you a fun fact, and that is that T1's next match is in fact against Gen G. So if this is going to end how we expect it is, that Gen G versus T1 series is looking more and more spicy. And do you want to know another thing? That is our final match of the week.
Okay.
So it's pretty exciting stuff. You and I will be there on Sunday to bring you that one. In fact, it's a pretty good day that day as well. We've got Damwon versus KT to start that one off.
You know what? You know it's not a pretty good thing?
Yeah.
Atlas, an Oblivion Orb against magic-resistant stacking team.
Yeah.
The math doesn't really... Is there a subreddit for he didn't do the math?
I think so.
Is there? Okay. Because I know that there is one for he did the math.
Yeah, but I mean,
like
maybe you could just add it to, like, he did the math and just say it was wrong.
It was wrong. Oblivion Orb picked up on the Gragas, and there's nothing, there's no healing to prevent, there's no reason to pick up the Morellonomicon. There's already a Mountain Drake, which is giving slight buffs to the magic resistance, but that's pulling away from the M-Pen that the Oblivion Orb gets. But already in a spot like this, you would either want to just not try to go for Pen and instead just go for utility items, or just pick up the Void Staff and accept that you're not going to be completing it anyway, even if you're 3-4 minutes away. Yeah. You're not in a rush. There's no hot date to get to.
Well, you don't know that.
Oh.
There might just be.
Okay.
Who knows? This feels like this, we're going for one of those, you know, those blind date situations where you, like, go around and you meet each other for a few minutes.
You know that apparently got very popular in Korea?
Yeah, I think it still happens. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I heard about it. I don't know whether it's like there's any English support or anything like that, but I know that there was a Korean one a friend of mine did. But yeah, I mean, this feels like this, but T1 just wants to get out. You know, they're done with it, so it's going to be a pretty quick one this time around. We'll see where the numbers are exchanged at the end. Not sure whether we'll be able to report back on that one as Malrung trying to clear out some vision because it's going to find him. Grand entrance is great. And he's only got a broken stopwatch, remember. The flash into the devour from Tucson, but I don't know whether he will survive. Oh, the body slam to get on out of there. Cuz not going to bite off more than he can chew. Everything expended to get Malrung out, but Tucson does hold onto his flash. So that is good news.
So we'll see what is going to happen for KT as they got to come up with something. Their team composition is sort of almost at a point where it would start spiking, which would be the Death Stance completed on Aatrox. The Forbidden Book is going to be purchased most likely by Malrung. He has that blasting wand.
Yeah, that blasting wand's looking, not so good, isn't it?
And so this is the other thing, that had the 1600 into the Oblivion Orb just been put towards the Void Staff, he would almost have it.
Yeah.
In this game, and instead just going to have a Morellonomicon be picked up here as QSS on Teddy. Absolutely love it. Acknowledges, hey, I'm so far ahead. I have an ornament giving me extra damage as well.
There is no relevant target for the Oblivion or Sork Boot combo to try and aim for, because there's even Merc Treads on Faker, which should really
I mean, Teddy has 69 magic resistance, and anytime the opponent is above 38 MR, you will get more value, or you'll get more magic penetration from Void Staff.
Yeah.
So, well, Cloud Drake going to be up in 20 seconds.
Oh, it is Earth, Wind, and Fire, so I like that. However, Ocean Soul a little bit more exciting, but I don't even know whether we're going to be going to a Soul game at this point.
I'm not sure
right
either.
Now, we've got a 7,000 gold lead for T1. They are cruising towards Baron control right here. As you saw, KT was spending every resource trying to clear out vision in their red side jungle and still getting pressured. The ornaments, like you were talking about before, are coming in. The Luden's Mega Echo, the really loud one, is going to most likely be completed very soon for Faker, as Kanna's going to be moving to level 14. And I believe Teddy just picked up that red buff very nicely as well. So it's going from good to good for T1, but what that means on the other side is that KT are struggling more and more as this game progresses. So on, relegated to a side lane, just trying to get himself into a position where he can help affect this map and then allow KT to play around him. It will be difficult. Ghostblade done here for aiming. wants to have the added utility of being able to be more maneuverable, but we got 5 minutes until that Cloud Soul is going to be there for T1.
Yeah.
As at a whim, Teddy decides to take that one down, and now Cuz, he started off this Baron at half health to make sure that the passive gives him as much attack speed as possible to increase the speed. He might die if nobody else turns up, but you can see Xayah wanting to get some control vision in here, going 1 versus 2,
Eddie.
as Tucson going down extremely low. The grand entrance not going to find Malrong, but the quickness, no, not able to get it, but Teddy will find that last auto, as aiming not knocked up by the Ram. And Cuz still sitting at very, very low health, but as his attack speed increases, oh my god, aiming one more auto, the Featherstorm comes forward, but aiming's able to get out of there. Oh my goodness, that E. Helping him out.
This game is pretty over. Atlas, 10,000 gold lead.
Oh yeah.
For T1, ornaments coming in on several, even a third Ornn item actually being picked up on Kana, and I personally don't really get. I mean, you know what? He wants to burn red.
What about Cuz is such a good guy and such a great jungler for his mid laner that I think he's going Abyssal Mask Olaf, because when it gets ornamented, it has very good stat efficiency. And also, he can close the distance on the members of KT so that he can give the magic penetration to fake his Chaos Storm.
That would be, and you know what? It even amplifies his Cinderhulk.
Oh my god.
There you go. That would be a very, you know what? That actually,
that's
a really good build, because
play.
All of the magic damage on the side of T1 often comes in at a range.
Yep.
And so it wouldn't be that bad. That would actually be a better ornament in terms of stats than the Black Cleaver.
I think it's incredible.
Yeah, I think that actually, you know what? Kana might not have built perfectly great on Ornn, but if Cuz does build the Abyssal Mask here on Olaf, I think that's
having a great
5-10.
time already. Yeah, I'm having a great time already. I'm giving him the MVP just for that, as there's the double knock-up on the Ornhorn. Tucson has to devour aiming very early in this fight, and so on. No one to get him out of trouble because of it. Chaos Storm does come in. And Kuro chunked to about half, as now Faker's just pushing it underneath this turret. Another Death Ray flying forward, the minions taxiing on in. Teddy will get snared. He's got effort dancing around. He's still holding on to his Q, seeing whether he can get that grand entrance to try and lock anyone down, but these turrets are falling, and KT look to have no answers. Good double snare as there's the Dawning Shadow, and Faker gets picked off, but Teddy, he's still alive, just destroys Malrong as the second Nexus turret also falls. Effort sacrifices his health bar, but he will survive as Kuro gets snared up by the Blade Caller, and T1, they are all business at the end of this game. Just destroy the Nexus and move on. A swift 2-0, and T1's first so far for LCK 2020 Spring. This is a T1 reborn here at the beginning. Just forget week 1 even happened. We're all about week 2 in the T1 camp.
And I'm really trying to think who to give MVP here to, because Teddy, he lane kingdomed in bot lane along with effort straight up, even prior to the Tahm Kench, I believe, doing the teleport play and then dying. And then also, he had such value in the mid game, as well as got the kill for himself against the Tahm Kench, but could blame Tushin for that, the Baron hold off.
The
he
complete
got so
outplay
value
against Sowan top lane as well.
Yeah, Cuz just was in a lot of places at the right time, though, getting stuff going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I don't know. This is...
We could give one to each.
Yeah,
Gentleman's
you know
agreement.
what? Yeah. Oh, you...
I've already...
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. We'll give one to each.
Yeah.
I'll be the... I'll take one for Cuz.
Good. Good. And unfortunately for Faker, he was absolutely destroying in the MVPs. They won 3 games, I believe, last week, and Faker picked up all of them. So good to see the rest of the team now stepping up. It was Teddy that got the first MVP, so if what you were talking about before, the theorizing that Teddy might pick up back-to-back, it would just be a solo interview with him. We'll be able to check out some of the highlights and some of the statistics to see where the other analysts and voters may have gone for this MVP as well. Because you're right, Cuz had a very, very good early game. Really put KT in a hole that they weren't able to get out of, and this is a big funk. I mean, KT and and T1 both don't play until Sunday.
Right.
So a big reset for these guys. Couple of days. It's not like they're coming back tomorrow or the next day or anything like that. So the 2-day reset is going to be a necessity here for a KT that honestly looked lost in a lot of different positions. I think Soan was the only player that we could really have consistently good things to talk about. It was, yeah, it's a tough day to be a KT fan. I know a lot of days are tough days to be a KT fan, but since the heyday, 2018, it really has been a difficult one to attest to. As we check out some of the highlights here, Faker healing but getting slowed, and the bubble landing. Tried to get into the brush here to get out of vision range, but there was a control ward, so it made him look a little bit silly. And Ken had some good horns. I think he hit all of them.
Yeah.
This game, apart from the one where Tucson devoured him, and he couldn't actually do it. So, despite not being great in the laning phase against Soan, and getting caught out underneath the turret bottom lane, Kanna did his job flawlessly.
Yeah, and Soan, you know, I do have to give him credit though. This series, he was the one that was consistently winning his lane on his own until the Jungler Nation attacked, and he ended up falling behind. And in the highlights here, this was Cuz and Kana almost managing to kill Malrang. Kuro coming in, but the anti-synergy.
Oh, so disappointing.
This was another key moment, yeah, inside of the game as Malrang, he just sits and watches.
But Kuro then, like, running forward to put his own flash into that play was just very suspect. It reminded me of Summit last night with his flash in. This is the moment I was talking about, Tucson with a great devour to deny Kanna there. They invested a lot though, and as you can see, the rest of this Tier 1 roster was taking Shirley, taking down inner turrets. As Teddy, this was just absolute god mode. Sees the rest of his team doing Baron, and he's like, all right, well, I'll just go and face off against the other 5 members of the enemy team, and we'll be just fine. And he, in fact, was.
Senna and Kensho flash.
포킹만 맞지 마. 포킹 안 맞으면 끝나. 조이 위치만 봐. 조이 위치.
Poke.
나 세나 나 때문에 한번 박아.
나 맞았다. 좀만 봐줘.
여기 물렀고.
드라 오케이 괜찮아.
괜찮아. 타워 밀어. 타워 밀어.
드라 먼저
It's
갖고.
okay, just
타워
go.
밀어, 타워 타워.
야 다운 먼저 봐줘. 다운 먼저 봐줘 일단. 미니언 먼저.
Getting
빼자,
slow,
빼자,
slightly
빼자,
better.
빼자.
미니언 먼저. 미니언 먼저.
오케이,
미니언만 봐.
밀어, 밀어,
미니언만
밀어.
밀어. 미니언만. 끝났다.
Keep saying the end and just push.
Good. All business here for T1 at the end of this game. Not doing anything flashy, not trying to get any kills, not realm warping onto fountains or anything like that, the classic celebration. This is a T1 that obviously got sat down after week 1 and got told, guys, we gotta win. You can't be doing these weird shenanigans. They drafted well today.
Yeah, this was
a real
that
uptick
that
for
was
T1 after what was a
game
really
number 2.
weird week 1. Yeah, sorry, yeah, week 2.
Is the first favorite draft that I would personally say that they've had so far in spring 2020.
Yep, and for a game that ended that fast, for Xayah to pick up most damage by that margin is pretty damn impressive.
Yes.
So happy with the Teddy choice when it comes to the MVP. See exactly how many of our analysts also decided that he picked that one up. As I believe it's not going to be for Teddy. It's going to be for Cuz.
Yeah.
3-0-4. His Olaf was great.
He got 9 out of 12 votes.
He did.
So you're the one that went for
Well,
Teddy
I
there,
mean,
you know?
no.
That's fine.
We agreed
Yeah,
to
we-
split. Okay.
Okay.
As our T1 was exactly where he needed to be. The follow-up on Kanna right here was great. This Ragnarok cast made Tucson look extremely silly. And I guess cooldowns just weren't being called. It happened right there.
Yeah. And
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
there was nothing really that could be done here. Here, flashing in onto aiming. Teddy had just told him a second prior in that mic check listening that we heard that Senna still didn't have flash. Oh,
Yep.
15 or 20 seconds, I think, on it. So
Really clean stuff from T1. Really clean. I didn't quite know what to expect from this series because T1 hadn't really shown much in week 1.
Yeah.
KT did show some signs of greatness in their game 1 performances. They were really able to make us believers, but let's see whether the players can as we check in for the MVP interview. So let's throw it over to Jisoo.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jisoo with the translation, and let's hear from Teddy and Cuz, and those two players that is not Faker picking up POG so far. Unlike the games we played, it's more quicker, so I feel really good. Yeah, it's actually on the stat. Your average game time was the longest in LCK. How are you guys able to close out so early this time? We had a lot of feedbacks around it, and we just wanted to play a little bit more aggressively and proactively. And Cuz, so you're going up against your former teammates and also coaching staffs. Well, we're enemies now, but we used to be in the same team. They taught me a lot, so I just want to say thank you, and I'm happy that we got this win. Does that makes you want to win more? I don't really pay too much attention about it. I just try to control my mind about the game. So, Team 1 actually opened Akali on the red side and took Aphelios Sat as a trade. What kind of strategy did you guys prepare? Well, our top mid laners are confident enough to play against Akali, and we also thought that taking Aphelios and Sat will be adding more power on our side as well. However, Aphelios is a very hard champion, especially to play during the team fights, but your positioning was on point, so let's go for some more details about this. So you are dodging all the skills, but also doing tons of damage at the same time. I mean, Aphelios is a champ itself with an amazing ability to do a lot of damage, so well, it's a champion that you just have to focus on doing more damage. You just naturally get to just survive the fight. You just do more damage before the enemy can chunk you down. Cuz, well, one of your signature pick was Rek'Sai. You were really a very premier Rek'Sai player. So it's on the top list of the ban percentage. So are you keeping in mind that you're trying to get it when it's opened? Yeah, we always want Rek'Sai to be opened, but we couldn't just take it in the early phase of the pick and ban, so we just let it go through. Then they just banned it out in the second phase of the ban phase. Then you played Diana today, so what's the strengths of Diana in teamfight? When the enemy doesn't have any dash, it's easier to just kill them, and also because it's an AP damage champion, you can build Zonia and take a lot of aggro. And there was this turn around in game number 2 on Olaf. So what was on your mind at this moment? We were trying to take down Aatrox. We were aware that Zoe is on her way for a backup. But we just wanted to try a little bit more, so we were going for Gragas. So when I stepped on the Slippy Trouble bubble, I thought I was dead. But well, actually, Kuro, Malong, their teamwork was not really clean, so I was able to survive. So are you guys satisfied with your performance today? Because I think so. And your next match is going up against Genji, so what's your mindset going into that match? We will work on our performance and do our best. Well, you are going against, especially Clid, your former teammate. Well, I just won't bear seeing Clid picking the win against us, so me and Faker will do our best. And Cuz, what's your mindset going into that game? Genji is getting a lot of spotlight, so we just want to prepare really hard and win. I want to help Teddy, Faker effort. So I will do extra work to get a win in that game. Well, T1 today definitely looks promising, so wish you the best of luck in your upcoming match. And this will be the end of the interview with Teddy Cuz from T1, and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, G-Sun. As usual, great to hear from Teddy and Cuz. Cuz having a great day, honestly. Both games being absolutely dominant. There were some mismatches as far as his jungle matchup is concerned, but sometimes you got to give credit where credit is due, and Teddy being consistent, much like he always is. So T1, a gigantic step up here. I believe they were in 7th place before this match.
Yep.
And now afterwards, really putting KT all the way down at -4 points. Only one away from APK, but securing that 4th spot. And remember, Afrika have already played one of their matches. Dragon X, they will play theirs after quite a long break. And then Gen G going to be their final opponent. So T1 really controlling their fate if Gen G don't find a win in their next one. I think, speaking for Gen G, it's going to be a much more comfortable one for the next one. Damwon Gaming going to be their next matchup, so that'll be exciting. But our next matchup is going to be quite a while. So we'll see you in about an hour for Hanwha Life versus Dragon X. And hopefully we don't have Sinners in the draft. We get all the Saints out here and just have a really good day on the Rift, LS, you know? So far, it's been better than yesterday. That's what I'm going to give it.
True.
See if it continues.